Good morning, VC, vinyl community, any other interested parties. Welcome to my new video. I haven't made too many videos over the last 12 months, mainly because of health, but I've had improvements in that department, and I also considered how my content could change a little. And one factor that I feel could be extremely valuable is for me to encourage and invite you, the viewer, to make contributions about the albums, either as an audio or in written form, and forward those to me, and I will read them out or offer the audio comment about albums that you want to talk about. I thought this might be quite useful, and your contributions could be either put on the bottom of this video's comments, or alternatively you could contact me at Facebook and message me via Messenger, and there will be a link to that in the description. So this is very much a sort of a prototype, so to speak, a new idea to encourage more participation for everyone, but I was principally thinking of people who perhaps don't have a channel and they would like to make some contribution and get it heard. And I'm willing to be that go-between, so to speak. So that's what I'm endeavouring to plan for the future. Now, as to format, in this video I will introduce the area that we're going to look at, and I'm going to focus on 1971 events in music, anything to do with 1971, and obviously with a particular focus on albums released in that year. And I'll be focusing in this video on the events, and sadly those that we lost, and I will also give you a screenshot of the released albums that you can then consider for your comments. I'm not going to specifically comment about any albums on this video, although I will on the next video do a sort of updated top 20 on this year. And running alongside that, I will also have two more videos on 1971, a top 20 songs, which continues on from my series that I started back in the late 60s, and also album tracks, a selection of my favourite album tracks from 1971. So probably 3 videos there, 2 on the top 20 songs, 1 on the favourite album tracks, plus this appreciation of 1971 with your comments included. Now obviously I could be in for more than one video depending on the number of comments, but I'll only know that after I've received them. And I really do want you to contribute rather than me be the sort of so-called expert. Although I'm 69 years of age in a few weeks' time, and have obviously listened to music for the best part of 60 years, I don't pretend to know all of it. And in fact, this will be highlighted when we look at the release of the albums, because in 1971 I was at the tender little age of 17, and I was heavily into music. I lived for music, and I adorned a sort of hippie dress style that befitted that time of the explosion of music onto the buying scene. So you can get a picture of a situation which I want you to now add your comment rather than view me as the expert, because I'm far from being one. So bearing in mind that this is a sort of intro video for the year 1971, I'm just going to go through briefly some of the events that happened in that year, and my materials come from Wikipedia. The famous Altamont Speedway music event took place in '69, and in February of that year, one of the Hells Angels was acquitted of the stabbing death of a fellow fan, and so that made the news. The individual, who I won't name, he also decided to sue the Rolling Stones for invasion of privacy because the documentary film Give Me Shelter, which included footage of the Altamont Festival concert, actually showed the stabbing. Next event, February 19, Queen performed their first public concert in London. On March the 4th, the Rolling Stones opened their UK tour in Newcastle upon Tyne, and it was regarded as a farewell to the UK prior to their relocation to France as tax exiles. Yes, taxation of famous rich people became a big issue in 1971. The album Live at the Fillmore East by the Allman Brothers was recorded live on the 12th and 13th of March. The Grammys on the 16th of March. Basically, Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water, took all the accolades with Album of the Year, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year. Best New Artist was The Carpenters. Another significant event on April the 9th, Gil Scott-Heron recorded the first rap song, yes, rap song, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, in New York. Continuing with events then, and we'll have Mick Jagger got married on May the 12th to Bianca in Saint-Tropez, and a host of stars at the wedding. All the Rolling Stones were there, McCartney, Ringo, Clapton and Stills. A very significant event on the 6th of June, John Lennon and Yoko Ono joined Frank Zappa at the Fillmore East for an encore jam. And this contribution later was found on the Sometime in New York City album. Carole King gives her first concert live at Carnegie Hall on June the 8th. And the first Glastonbury Festival took place on June the 20th to the 24th in southwest England. And the bill, well, it was a pretty impressive one. It was Hawkwind, Quintessent Fame, Fairport Convention, Traffic, and top of the bill, David Bowie. What a tremendous concert that must have been. Continue with the events then. We're midway through the year now. Bill Graham closed the Fillmore East with the final concert unearthing the Allman Brothers, the Beach Boys and Mountain. Sounds a pretty tasty bill, that. On July the 3rd, sadly, Jim Morrison was found dead in a bathtub in Paris. He was only 27, and on the show was closed. And that final show was also very impressive. Santana, the Grateful Dead, and Creedence Clearwater Revival. August the 1st, we had the concert for Bangladesh at Madison Square Garden with a host of stars. George Harrison, of course, got this together. Dylan was on the bill, Clapton, Leon Russell. Who's Next released on August the 14th. And on the 31st of August, John Lennon said goodbye to the UK for New York City and was never to return. October 29th, unfortunately, we lost the great guitar player Duane Allman, who died in a motorcycle accident in Macon, Georgia, after colliding with a truck. October 31st, the sixth album by Pink Floyd called Metal was released, and it's been considered a turning point, really. a move away from psychedelic sound to more progressive. Led Zeppelin released their fourth on November the 8th, biggest selling album of the year. And then finally, on December the 4th at the Montreux Casino in Montreux, Switzerland, there was a fire during a performance by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention when a fan fired a flare gun into the rafters. Frank and the band were lucky to escape with their life, and it had a tremendous impact because Deep Purple were due to perform and begin recording at the casino the next day, and they had to relocate, and this was immortalised in the events that led to the creation of their infamous song Smoke on the Water. So those are my events from 71. Briefly, I just want to go through some of the bands that were formed in 1971 that I feel were significant. Jojo Gunn, members from the San Francisco band Spirit, coordinated and started this new rock pop band. Roxy Music appeared for us all. Big Star, a band that I'm not that familiar with, but they were formed in 1971, as was Paul McCartney and Wings, and another couple that I really liked that were unearthed in 71, the Mahavishnu Orchestra with John McLaughlin and a host of five-star musicians in that band. Stephen Stills developed Manassas, which was short-lived but was absolutely superb band. Split Enz, the New Zealand band, arrived, and Steely Dan performed there and recorded their first album in 1971, as did the Eagles. The New York Dolls were also established in 1971. As for bands that said goodbye, well, the very brief Derek and the Dominoes, of course, they came and went. Booker T and the OMGs called it a day, and also the Monkees, they gave up after Davy Jones left. Finally, on this segment, deaths. Jim Morrison, as mentioned, died. Stravinsky, the classical operator, he died at the right old age of 89. Louis Armstrong also passed away. He was 69. We mentioned Duane Allman, and we also lost Gene Vincent. So those are a brief look at the bands that were formed and disbanded, plus the musicians that we lost. Just to remind you again of my intro, the next video on 1971, I will endeavour to include your comments, and you will see now on the video some slides, a couple of them, with the lists of the albums that were released in 1971, and I have actually listed on two slides 164 albums. Now I have to say I haven't heard or listened to 164 albums, even though they were released in 1971, and I really would appreciate any comments on some of those more rare offerings that I can include in this video. Obviously I can't talk about the albums. I'll just give you some examples of albums that I don't know that were released. Wildlife by Motley Hue, John Fay, America, know nothing about that at all, and Wilson Pickett, Don't Knock My Love, no, have no idea. And the albums that I did listen to, but my recall is pretty minimal. Alice Cooper released A Killer, and maybe Calcio Silva can help me out on that one. And The Faces, the band with Ron Wood and Rod Stewart, released an interesting album called A Nod Is a Wink. a nod and a wink is as good as a blind horse, something like that. But I don't remember much about that either. And there's a whole list of them, and certainly the ones listed from sort of 100 onwards, I can't recall listening to. So it's over to you now. In that next video, I will do a top 20 of my favourite albums, and I will refer to my original top 10 that I did a few years back, and there'll be a link in that. The original top 10 was released on the 11th of July 2019, but it was only in audio. You didn't get to see my grisly face. So this updated one will, top 20 expanding, will contain probably most of that top 10, but possibly in a different order. You know, time moves on, and so possibly a few surprises. And of course, I will be including your comments, and I will read the comment and refer to who wrote it and where they're from. Of course, including the album title and artist. Okay, so hope you've enjoyed this new idea, and I really would like you to get involved. Okay, thanks a lot for watching.